Hi, welcome to another Warhammer discussion one. In fact, there's going to be a couple over the next few days because the new Death Guard battle tome arrived for 40k, which I was quite excited about, so I'm going to be doing something on that. But in this one, I want to talk about the new Age of Sigmar related stuff that was announced yesterday with Games Workshop, because I've got a few things. It's actually quite funny. A lot of people, of course, very excited when it comes to new announcements. I was really excited for it, but unfortunately I got the wrong end of the stick with one of the things, and so I was really disappointed overall, but I'm just going to go over explaining why that is. So the frustrating aspect of it first was, so as we were getting up for the weekend's reveals, I keep a bit of a weather eye on the Warhammer community. Maybe there was something in there that would have already dampened my enthusiasm if I'd have read it more carefully. I don't know. We had this thing revealed. It was the Dead and the Divine or something like that it was being billed as. And there were obviously reveals for 40k related stuff too. We've got some stuff for Kill Team coming out and various other bits and pieces. But I was focusing, there was some new Lumineth Realmlords model, sorry. So that was the Divine part of it and the Dead part of it. There's a Vampire model shown there. I thought, ooh. Now, the reason I got ooh like that, not because, it's a brilliant looking model. The Games Workshop produce really good looking models. My focus is on the games. Like, I can look at a model and I can appreciate that it's a really good looking model. But that's not my... I'd be perfectly happy with the models that I was first playing when, you know, Warhammer Fantasy Battle was in like 4th edition, which is primitive compared to the ones now, because I enjoy playing the game. But my issue at the moment is, so when you've got all the, like playing lots of different armies, and I don't have the time or frankly the inclination to paint up lots of different armies. I've got a right load of models, and I used to say that I need to get through. I won't get through them. This is a fact now. I'm starting to you know, just accept the fact that when I get armies painted, by and large, there might be the odd one I do myself, but by and large they're going to be commissioned for someone else to do. That's the reality of it, and there'll be some more emerging over this year. Now, but there's still armies that I prefer, you know, over others. And one of, just going way back, one of my favourite armies were Vampire, you know, when Vampire Counts came out, I think that might have been 5th edition rather than 4th. In fact, it was. I like vampire-based armies, absolutely love them. And no different here. In Age of Sigmar, with the Legions of Nagash book, I like the Legion of Blood, Blood Knights, stuff like that, but it's the Blood Knights where the problems lie. Because for the rest of it, it's all fine. The Blood Knight models are absolutely shocking. First of all, it's the old resin stuff, which are appalling. But the biggest issue with it is that they come on the old-style cavalry bases. So you have to get yourself the other ones, which is okay, but they don't go on it very easily. I did get some of those Blood Knight models, and I had to... I mean, maybe what I'd have been better off doing is put them on the old-style cavalry models, putting that on a new-style one, and then building up some texture to make it all sort of work. That's probably the best thing to do. But I just lived out hope of some new plastic models coming out. And at the moment, my thought is just try and convert some Black Knight type models. It won't be very good, but see what I can do. And then I saw this vampire model and it was talking about new Soulblight models. I thought, that's going to include Blood Knights. I thought, yes. And then we go through the reveals they do with all the 40k stuff. I thought, yeah, good. The Chronomancer model for Necrons. Oh, yeah, I really want that. Shame I have to buy the whole Kill Team thing, but I will do that. And then you get to the Lumineth things, and I'm thinking, well, you know, I sort of quite like the idea of Lumineth. I'd like a Lumineth army at some point. Bit tricky to get that though, because on the one hand, I don't want to commission it. Lots of very spindly things, and I'm sure that they'll take great care in packaging it. But I can see the odd casualty, no matter how well they try and do that. And I'm not going to paint them myself. I did actually try, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do it myself. So I don't know when that's going to happen. So my interest in the Lumineth model sort of waned, not because I'm not interested in Lumineth, but because realistically, I know that I'm not going to get a painted Lumineth army, and because I am getting other painted armies commissioned, and you always prefer to... I will, you know, I don't mind playing too much with unpainted models, but it's better if they are painted, even I accept that. And because I'm going to have multiple painted armies soon, I've already got a couple for ages. We've got 4 actually. I've got 4 painted armies for Age of Sigmar at the moment. So I'm not, you know, I'll be more inclined to play the ones I've got painted. But then we got the Vampires one, and it was a dire Chasm set, and I thought, oh, no. Because they look really good, and actually I like the fact that one of them has wings. Now there is a vampire model with wings at the moment, but I've never really liked that one. It's a really old one as well. Never really liked that. A new plastic one with wings that had actually looked quite good. I thought, yeah, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna look forward to that. But the Blood Knights, what do I do about the Blood Knights? Because I had visions in my head of, right, they all come out, I'll get those out, I'll find a studio that I don't currently have a job with, get them to commission it, and I can have a nicely painted Legions of Nagash army, a Legion of Blood army, specifically Legion of Blood army. That'd be brilliant. I'd love that. And then my hopes were dashed. But they're not necessarily dashed permanently, because I'm looking at it and thinking, well, because then there were other reveals as well. Now, we'd already had revealed that we're going to have a new Hedonites of Slaanesh battle tome coming out this year. Now, my initial reaction to that was, what? Because Hedonites of Slaanesh came out in 2019. I think there were 11 battle tomes came out in 2019 altogether. So obviously what had happened is I wasn't playing this when Age of Sigmar first edition came out. So I missed all that nonsense, which is probably good. I'm sure I would have been raging about it like everyone else. I came back to the hobby for second edition, and you could tell that some of the older battle tomes weren't really fit for second edition, and so that's what 2019 was about. It's like bang out the battle tomes, and you could tell they were banged out because some of them, were not all that well thought through. Some were better than others, and so part of me was thinking, yeah, okay, you go. And when the Hedonites of Slaanesh battle tome did come out, because there's me thinking to myself, well, we saw this because the storyline has evolved and Slaanesh has been part of it. So we sort of knew that Slaanesh had been captured. We knew sort of what was going on with Slaanesh, and we knew at some point surely Slaanesh would weaken those bonds, which is what's happened now with the Marathi book. So when you had this battle tome written from the point of view of Slaanesh still not being known what had happened, I thought it was a little bit strange. It's not really future proof, this, is it? So the idea that we get a new Hedonites of Slaanesh battle tome that will have the updated story, I suppose, shouldn't be some great surprise, and there's some new models, and I thought, okay, but aren't there battle tomes that, although they're okay for second edition, are not brilliant? Daughters of Khaine was one classic example. But they revealed yesterday the new Daughters of Khaine battle tome is coming out soon, so that's good. That's okay. But then there's there's other ones you'd think. So Legions of Nagash is another one. It was sort of fit for second edition, but at the same time it is missing things. I don't just mean the endless spells. I'm not such a big fan of the endless spells as some people are, but like with my Legion of Blood army, for example, I'm quite happy to have Neferata in there, and if Neferata's in, she has to be the general. Normally I would balk at that. Normally I'd think, because just from a gaming point of view, it means you don't get a command trait. So if you have a named character in your list, you generally don't make them your general because you're missing out on a command trait. But at the end of the day, the Legion of Blood command traits are a bit rubbish anyway, so you don't really miss that. The artifacts are a bit pants as well. There's the odd one that's okay, but you can always at least get realm artifacts there, but you miss out on a command trait. So having something better suited for that would be nice. But what I'm mostly focused on is not so much the battle tome. I'm quite happy with the battle tome, even though it could do with updating. I could do with the new model range, but it does give me a little bit of hope. If it looks like in 2021 they're going to be revisiting some battle tomes that need some love. They've obviously picked on Hedonites of Slaanesh, which I wouldn't have said was one of them, but okay. But Daughters of Khaine may be Legions of Nagash later on, or maybe they don't do Legions of Nagash. Maybe they do specific ones. Maybe they do a Soulblight one that we can do Legion of Blood and stuff like that in it as well. I don't know. I would still prefer the Legions of Nagash one. But that may be coming with a new model line as well. So I've still got a little bit of hope. Still got a little bit of hope that at some point this year, that could come out. But but it is good news for me that they are updating those battle tomes and not, because at the end of last year, what did we have? Sons of Behemoth, a battle tome for. I'll tell you how bad this was. It was because whenever they bring out the battle tomes, of course, they bring out a limited edition version. Sometimes they sell out really quickly. For example, since I've been back in the hobby, when the battle tomes come out, I've got the limited edition version where where it's been out when I've been in it. The only one I didn't get limited edition was Beasts of Chaos. Reason? It sold out in before I'd logged on of the morning when it was announced. Just sold out. Now I didn't log on the second it was released, so it may have been a couple of hours later. But it sold out within a couple of hours. So, but I did get the limited edition one for Sons of Behemoth as well, because that's just what I do now. But I noticed last week, I don't know whether it's still the case, but last week you could still get that. And this came out a couple of months ago. And you could still get the limited edition one. So you could tell loads of people were just not that interested in it. And it wasn't really designed as an army battle tome. It was like you could use these as allies, but you could also use them as their own army. And yeah, maybe it'd be fun to do it once. But I'm not going to get all those models just to do it once. I don't, and I had fears of them just doing this with new battle tomes, trying to think of wacky ideas for completely new armies. And then, part of you is thinking, well, what about some Tomb Kings updates or Bretonnians? Can we have that? They're obviously not thinking in terms of that. But if they're just going to revisit, then that gives me some hope. It's like, well, okay, if they're not going to do Tomb Kings or Bretonnians properly, or Chaos Dwarfs, I know there's a Forge World stuff, but the line, you can't actually do them because there's so many models you can't get anymore. They've just been discontinued, the models are knackered or whatever. So that's a non-starter. But yeah, so I'd prefer that they revisited older ones than just tried to come up with silly new ones. So it was a mixed bag for me yesterday. Really disappointed because I really thought the Blood Knights were coming. I really thought this was going to be it. I thought that's what it was about. I thought, Soulblight, it said Soulblight and it was just Chasm. What do you do? But anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. And as I say, within a few days there'll be a Death Guard video on my thoughts on the Death Guard Codex as well. But until then, I'll see you later.